So, my friends, a wonderful good morning to you all and a very, very good start to the new trading week. Bitcoin at 111,500 US dollars. We've finally gotten our pump now, pump in quotation marks, after we saw a reaction coming out of our buy zone. We're holding up well here at the moment. Still, we're missing a bit of volume. So, you have to say, in terms of volume, it was really weak over the past few days, just like it usually is on weekends. We also don't necessarily want to see a pump on a Sunday, especially not in the evening. But that's what we've now seen with Bitcoin. Whether that's a good thing is questionable, we'll see soon enough. In any case, our buy zone has been activated. Anyone who's long can definitely move their stop loss to entry now. Maybe even take some small profits here as well. And then we'll take a look at the rest in today's update video. We definitely have a lot to discuss. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, which pumped quite a bit last night. We'll definitely check out the news as well. And of course, we'll also look at the stock markets because there's a lot to talk about there too. But before we get started, as always, feel free to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course join the free Telegram talk and signal group. If you're interested in updates, news and signals, feel free to join. You'll find the link for that for free down in the video description. And if you're still looking for an exchange where you can trade all of this, feel free to sign up with my partner exchange, WEEX. At the moment, there are bonuses of up to 11,500 USDT. And not only that, something I noticed yesterday and already posted in the Telegram group, there are now perp, meaning perp forex positions, and stocks are slowly but surely being added again. That means Apple, Coinbase, especially Circle, Meta, and Nvidia have already been added, and more will keep coming. I think that's really, really awesome and also great, simply because now you can just switch over to this exchange again and have everything in one place. So feel free to sign up, and if not, you'll also find the link down in the video description or in the Telegram group. All right, that's enough for now. Let's get right into it. Bitcoin at 111,500 US dollars. The weekend actually went very, very solidly, I have to say at this point. The buy zone was down here at 109,000 US dollars. That was picked up very, very well in the meantime. Personally, I didn't go long because I still have my short position open. We then had a pump of 3% in the meantime. We're now at 2.4%, so I would just set a stop loss at entry here. Profit is secured and better safe than sorry at this point, especially since, in my opinion, the market is still a bit indecisive. Let's take a quick look at the funding rates. They look relatively reasonable, so they've risen slightly over the weekend, but not really extremely high. We're definitely still much more short overall, which could definitely still lead to a squeeze. We can also see all of this in the heat map. We still have a large chunk sitting around 113,500 US dollars at the moment. Okay, then the next chunk is down or up at 117,000 US dollars. What makes me struggle a bit at the moment is more this 107,000 US dollar mark. Everyone who was in the live stream yesterday knows that I was actually hoping we might still reach that, maybe last night. So with the Asia session, that we would drop down here again briefly and swap the liquidity here and then move upwards. That would have been a longer term breakout, I would say, or rather with a solid base up towards 115,000 US dollars. Let's take a quick look at the news this week because those shouldn't be underestimated either. So there's not really much going on today. Tomorrow then the house price index. You should pay a bit more attention to that because Powell also talked about it. Another important point on Wednesday is the Purchasing Managers Index. In terms of how is the economy doing? At the moment, as we know, basically everything is going really well except for the labor market and maybe inflation. So the most important points overall, the rest is actually going great. Gross domestic product rose last week. Everything is looking wonderful. Then on Thursday, initial and continuing jobless claims. Unemployment benefits are also an important indicator, but Friday is even more important. That's when we have the unemployment rate and the labor force participation rate. We also have the non-farm payrolls coming in. So as you can see, this week is packed full starting Wednesday. Things really get going, and as I already said yesterday in the live stream, I can well imagine that we might possibly go up here to 113,000 or even 115,000 US dollars, grab the liquidity up there, and then by the end of the week, we might see a new sell-off. That means that this buying zone is holding for now, and we will, let's say, rise until the middle of the week, maybe even until Thursday, and then initiate the next sell-off down here, which would then also activate our scenario, our longer-term scenario, down to around 102,000 to about 98,000 US dollars. It would be a bearish start to October, to be honest. But as I said, as long as this zone down here holds, anything that happens afterward would still mean for me that we either revisit the 117,000 or we go for my long-term target of 130,000 to 150,000 US dollars. So let's move on to Bitcoin. I know that's what interests you the most right now. The Ethereum position is going extremely well. So we entered at $3,976 here. We're currently trading at $4,100. Here too, we're now seeing a nice pump of 3%. That means stop loss at entry, take profit 1, and secure the position. I said yesterday on the live stream that this was still a bit too risky for me here. It turned out well to set the stop loss at entry here because we dipped back in right at this point and then got this impulse. We got an upward impulse. And that's why now the stop loss is at entry. The buy zone is already grayed out because I wouldn't enter there anymore. And the next targets are up here at 4,300 to 4,400 US dollars. Why am I already taking profit here? Because the whole structure here still hasn't formed a higher high. That means playing it a bit safe. There's still a chance for a pullback here before we reach the targets to the upside. Let's move over to Hype. Hype is also looking good. After this massive bullish divergence, a pump to the upside, very, very good. For Solana, since we entered somewhere around $204 and had 2 buy zones here, I would also move the stop loss to entry now. The reason is simply that we're already up 2.5% here and at times even 3.5%. That's why in any case, it's time to set the stop loss at entry here. And now we'll just wait and see how the rest of the position develops. XRP is slowly getting going, but it's still a bit weak. And then let's briefly take a look at the other projects we still have open. Pamphon has also pumped very, very nicely. So this buy zone really worked out exceptionally well. Yesterday, I already took 50% out of the position during the live stream. Since our buy zone down here, it has risen by 21% at its peak, and it's still up 13% now. So the trades are going well. All trades should now be secured with take profit 1, so treat yourself to some profits, and if there are any new updates, you'll definitely hear about them here in the Telegram group. Alright, then let's move over to stocks, or rather, to the Forex market. Gold keeps pumping, new all-time high, and we keep moving our fib higher and higher. But that doesn't mean I expect an instant correction right now. You know, the buy zone down here is also always being adjusted upwards. My targets are still $3,850 up to $4,000. That's the next level for gold. As I said, we're still kind of in a crisis at the moment, or actually not just kind of, the global economy isn't really doing great. Gold is a bit more crisis-proof, and that's something you can really benefit from right now. The massive divergences we see everywhere here, of course, we shouldn't underestimate them at this point, obviously. But right now, I just wouldn't short this thing. For me, it's still all long, and all long up to here. Silver, how's that looking? Also very, very good. We've also formed a new high here. There's not much left to reach $47. So until my next price target, or rather, until my next sell zone or take profit, however you want to call it. In any case, it's also going very, very well. Definitely don't short it. Forget it, I'm not going to short silver here. I'd rather wait for the pullback that we might get here at some point. Maybe a 10 to 15% drop would at least be a start down here. And then maybe get back in around $40 or even $41. That would be a 13% drop. Let's see how it plays out. In any case, up here we have massive resistance due to a yield curve pivot. We've also now reached a potential wave 3 target up here. So this is going to be very, very interesting. The euro against the US dollar is recovering slightly, but it's nothing really spectacular. Otherwise, the stock markets are still closed. Let's see how they open up. But since the whole market currently looks very, very bullish, I also suspect that the Nasdaq will at least go for the all-time highs, just as the S&P 500 will go for these highs again. And otherwise, an important focus this week is definitely still on Circle. We'll have to see about that. You know, the long position we opened down here is still running. We can now gray this out a bit here since, as I said, it's already recorded, or rather already executed. Let's see how this all plays out here, especially if Circle can open positively. In that case, my targets for the next few weeks are definitely at $182. All right, that's it from my side for now. I'd say we'll catch up again tomorrow with a new update video. And otherwise, as I said, I wish you a great and successful start to the new trading week. If there's anything you need, join the Telegram group to get the latest updates. Also, check out WEEX. They now have stocks again, which I think is really awesome because that means we can trade everything, including Circle, on WEEX again. All right, that's it from me. I wish you a nice, relaxing day. Until then, ciao, ciao, and as always, stay crypto.